Good evening, everyone, and welcome tonight, day number 132. And here we are. As you can see, everything is rolling good tonight. We had to make a few adjustments, but all is well. Nice to see all of you guys jumping in here. And tonight's going to be really interesting. Kind of a part one of part two. Let's get to hit that button right there on the Lugansk and Donetsk situation. So thank you guys. And it's great that you're here each evening. Got Zhenya for a little bit tonight, early in the morning there. He was traveling today. He's in Lviv. He's hunting more humanitarian supplies, specifically food that we're working on, trying to get to some of these cities back in the east. So I see all of you guys jumping in here. Welcome to you all. And special thank you to Jeffrey Burnett there for handling the moderation. And that is a big blessing indeed and making a huge difference. So thank you guys for all being here. Hello to all of you. Malcolm Beals, good morning there. Dear sir, across the pond. Nathan Fody, blessings to you, my friend. Carol, I think you're out in California. Picarelli, my fourth was great. JDO, hello peeps. And Ricochet, for some reason, he keeps bouncing back. I think that's what a ricochet does. All right, folks, I want to get to it straight away. Big night. So welcome to all of you. We continue to stand with Ukraine. And tonight, full update. Wilson's Custom Gun Polishing. Welcome, my friend. Stephen Terry Olsgaard. I see you jumping in there from beautiful California. So, folks, let's crank it up. And away we go. In fact, let me start with this first. Let's go here first. Right now, currently, that is the air raid alerts for the nation of Ukraine. There are only 3 places where there are not air alerts. Number 1, Crimea in the lowest part of the map in the center, and then Kherson, and then, of course, Lugansk out to the right. Every other oblast is currently under fire at this moment, under signal. So missiles are flying. Another update today. You know, we thought last night that Dnipro was going to be the target of the day, and it was. It was hit very hard, as well as Mykolaiv. But unfortunately, Kharkiv became the number 1 cruise missile strike city today, and heavy shelling. So you can see it. This is the 9th day in a row that the targets have bounced around. And when I say that, everywhere is being struck or fired at throughout the nation at random times. But it just seems there are focus cities each day, and we've tracked it now for 9 days in a row. Mykolaiv and Dnipro hit hard today, but number 1 struck city today on day 132 was Kharkiv, and that's up there represented by the number 9, Slavyansk. I want to talk to you about Slavyansk. This is the zone over in the Donetsk Oblast. In fact, I'll go here. Let me give you this right quick. We're going to talk about Slavyansk, and we're actually going to come back to this map in just a few moments. But Slavyansk right here under Ukrainian control is in the Donetsk Oblast, and other than Kharkiv, this is the number 1 struck place today. There were quite a few fatalities, quite a bit of infrastructure destroyed in Slavyansk. And we will be talking about these 2 places, Slavyansk and Kramatorsk, in a few moments. And I'll kind of clear this image up for you. But Slavyansk, here's the interesting thing in regard to Slavyansk. It's a large city, over 100,000 people. And today, civilians were asked to evacuate. Now, this has happened before. This has happened in Severodonetsk. This has happened in Lysychansk. This has happened in Rybizhny. And many have not done so. And unfortunately, they either get killed, injured, or taken over. Today, the governor of the region, of the Ukrainian side of the Donetsk region, put a call out to the civilians and said, please evacuate. because the Ukrainian military, once again, the same story, needs to be able to defend our territory and push back against the opposition and the enemy forces versus making sure that they can get you out of a basement. So we shall see, but Slavyansk and then, of course, Kramatorsk under major attacks. That moves us into Donetsk. I want to jump right in tonight and help us understand this. Maybe you're here tonight and you're just learning, you're trying to figure out, you've been with us for 132 days, but you really do not understand when everyone keeps talking about Lugansk and Donetsk, and you hear the words like separatist and terms that you're not really sure of. Well, I'm going to try and make that a little bit clearer for everyone tonight. Specifically, I'm gonna I have a friend tonight that's gonna help clear it up a little bit, but we were preparing actually a little bit earlier, and we have actually laid out a historical analysis to prove that Russia has been planning this war for over 20 years and actively pursuing it. This was not bad pizza. I woke up and invaded Ukraine. This has been unfolding for decades. We're watching it now come to fruition. So Jane and I are working on something to lay that out for you. But tonight we're going to scratch the surface. So first of all, I want to tell you about the city of Donetsk. This map that you're looking at right here would be Eastern Ukraine zoomed in. The top right region is Lugansk, which has completely fallen, completely under Russian control. Now, the second part is Donetsk. Below that, you see the dark orange in Donetsk. In fact, let me go here and show it to you a little bit better. This, zoomed in, was the Lugansk People's Republic. We'll explain that in a minute. And this was the Donetsk People's Republic. This is where it started in 2014. Now, this is all Lugansk, and we're really zoomed in here. Of course, these are cities you recognize: Lysychansk, Severodonetsk, Rubizhny. Now, this is all fallen. And this has been fallen, the city of Donetsk. In fact, I want to show you about the city of Donetsk. The city of Donetsk is 138 square miles, known for the mining and an industrial center. It has a population of 1.5 million people. Think about that for a moment. And we're talking tonight about DPR and LPR, Donetsk People's Republic, Lugansk People's Republic. In parenthesis to the right, I have an 82 with a CLE. Well, if you travel on airplanes, you know what CLE is. That is the airport code for Cleveland. I put that there a little bit earlier to remind myself. Donetsk, the city, 1.5 million. It is 138 square miles in area. For reference point, Cleveland, Ohio, and if you guys are from Western Pennsylvania, where I'm from, or Ohio, or you've visited Cleveland, one thing about Cleveland is it's a very spread out city. When you go from East Cleveland to West Cleveland, you're heading over to the airport, or you're just moving across the city, you think you will never leave Cleveland. It's a big city. How many square miles is Cleveland? 82. Donetsk, 138 square miles, population 1.5 million. So we're talking about a large area here. Now, the Lugansk region has completely fallen, all gone. This part of Donetsk region, which is Makeyevka, Donetsk, and Gorlovka, was stolen in 2014. Now, you see one more line here, and I'm going to put this one in blue. This is the part of the Donetsk Oblast that is still controlled by Ukraine. This, my friends, is the next target of Russia. Zelensky came out a few minutes ago and says, it's unbelievable. They're not resting. It is non-stop shelling. And that is, of course, because they have a limitless supply. Now, you see, when you zoom in here to this blue area, you have Slavyansk and Kramatorsk. These are the key cities. Now, you see here Artemyevsk. That is actually Bakhmut. It's the old term for Bakhmut. Down here, you have a city I've been in many times, Konstantinovka, little town, 40, 50,000. I know a lot of us live in rural areas and you go, 40,000 small? Yeah. When you look at Slavyansk and Kramatorsk, you're about 300K people. And that's why Ukraine is saying, get out, get into the Kharkiv Oblast, get into the Dnipro Oblast, because they're coming. So this zone here in the blue, make no mistake about it, when you're watching the news during the day, or you will hear, this is the Ukrainian controlled part of Donetsk. They're not talking about the city. They're talking about the oblast or the region, the state, however you want to think about it for yourself. They're much larger than a county. So a state for us here in the United States, or whatever nation you're in, however your geographical zones are broken up. So these are basically states. Half of Donetsk is the Donetsk People's Republic. Half of it is controlled by Ukraine. So when you see or hear that Ukraine is striking military targets in Donetsk, you say, hold on, isn't that Ukraine? Well, it is Ukraine, but it's been under the control of Russia since 2014. They have set it up as a fake government with the separatists, in this whole jargon that we're going to explain to you in detail in the coming days. But Donetsk has two parts right now. The People's Republic, which we do not recognize, still Ukraine, but under Russian control, and then the large portion here under Ukrainian control. So we've been looking at this together. Of course, you guys realize, as I do, this will be the next push into that pinch, and they will want to take Bakhmut, and they will want to take Slavyansk. And then, of course, the big prize that's left would then be Kramatorsk. So that gives you an overview, that gives you an analysis. So where I want to go with that is I want to roll us now in, how about on location in Ukraine this morning, 4:15 a.m. Our buddy, I think he's here. Nice to see you this morning, bud.
Okay.
You alive?
Good evening.
Good morning.
Yes.
Listen, I won't hold you.
Hey.
I know it's very, very early in the morning there. Tonight, I'm just laying the groundwork. You and I were discussing just a little while ago, kind of making some plans on this one because it's so complex for people to understand Donetsk and Lugansk. Well, before I say that, I know you want to say hello to everybody, so.
Hey. Hello, friends.
So it's not simple to understand Donetsk and Lugansk and Crimea. You need to understand the history of how Ukraine got to this point, what Russia did, what Putin did, what presidents of Ukraine did. So we've laid it out, and I'm going to put it together with some pictures and different things so that you can explain it, because there's so much talk about Donetsk People's Republic, Lugansk People's Republic, and if you're not from Ukraine, you have no clue what they're talking about. We just see it on the news. I want people to understand that. But tonight, I'm just showing people this region right here, right there, just so they understand. Over in the Far East, Donetsk, Lugansk, The dark orange regions were the separated regions. And the reason I got you up out of the bed in the middle of the night is to just give us a nutshell. Basically, how did that become separated and Russia control it? Can you just, we'll go detailed very soon, but why is that dark orange? Why is that called People's Republic? The short version.
Okay, Russia were preparing years
Yes.
that its plan by using their proxies and their people in government, Ukrainian government, and even in the area to make our army at zero.
Mm-hmm.
Then they were using their propaganda. Russia did use their military forces in Ukrainian territory. They did, after all the promises that they will never break the borders of Ukraine, they were lying, and they did, and they proved it. They were using propaganda. They were manipulating between people who mostly was talking Russian, and they were using it, lying. They were publishing a lot of lies about the West Ukraine and the history of Ukraine, and they were supplying cruise missiles and tanks and a lot of weapon to Donetsk and Lugansk area, with the comments to the whole world: there is no Russian army in Ukraine, in Donetsk, or all of it. It's just people who fight. We don't know where they got this weapon.
And that of course is referring to the separatist.
Yes.
Yes.
And so Russia were prepared, and they used this plan with the military, with finances, with propaganda, with the lie, with the faking attacks, and they got it. Yes, they got it. So the time is coming. We will get it back.
So
and truth will be open.
Okay, so this is our nutshell view, but we're going to lay out the detailed view. And it is so interesting, especially for those that do not know the history. It's unbelievable how this unfolded. But let me ask you a couple of questions, and you just answer.
Okay, but I would say
go ahead. Then I'll ask questions.
They were using media in United States, in Germany, in France, in a lot of countries. Pro-Russian media were public. Absolutely not truth. Situation in Ukraine with Crimea, with fake referendum, and a lot of stuff. I have to edit because we're using the whole world their media to present pro-Russian picture about what's going on in Ukraine. Now it's time.
May I say it this way?
Okay.
And then I'll ask you a couple of questions, and you can get some sleep.
Okay.
I'm trying to choose my words wisely here, because I don't want to make this about politics of other nations. This is about Ukraine and the war in Ukraine. But when you have world leaders like Merkel for Germany, and I'm just going to go ahead and say it, and Donald Trump for the United States, saying, "Oh, Putin, he's a great guy. We can work with this guy. We can have good relations with the Kremlin." They may have meant that to be well and thought that there was a hope But most likely the whole time, the Kremlin was playing a game and just reeling them in just like a fish. Would that be accurate?
Yes.
Okay.
And
Secondly,
interest.
it is.
Interest.
And listen, I mean, I'm not here to talk about American presidents or German chancellors, but the world was sucked in to the new Russia, the new Putin, and what they actually got was a rebirth of the Soviet Union, and he played them like a fiddle. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, and you go get some sleep. Did Russia steal Lugansk and Donetsk in Crimea?
Yes. They captured it.
They captured it.
Just steal. They were using their forces, military force, army.
Yes, but in the beginning, I remember so well because here's some Ukrainian culture. Even back in 2014, we're sitting in the cafe in Ukraine. Maybe we're in Kyiv, Khmelnytsky. Maybe we were in Donetsk even prior to that. And we saw it coming, and we would make jokes about this word, separatist. And it was always kind of a joke, but not a joke. You know what I'm saying? We made light of it, talking about it. And the whole time, Russia was just pushing in. And let's be honest, over the last 20 years, this has been unfolding.
Yes.
Accurate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I think that's a good place. Now the community has a basic understanding, but we're going to put the timeline out and we're going to show exactly how we got to the place we did with the lying, propaganda, abuse of media, abuse of the military, abuse of the Ukrainian people to get to where we're at now in 2022. Fair enough? Did you go to sleep on me already? There you are. You...
No.
Is that cool? We'll do it that way.
Yes, we will. And I think we will prepare. Good media, good facts.
Hey, this is going to be top tier. But this tonight helps people understand the basics. So listen, I know you're exhausted. You've been rolling. And I'm going to finish the update now. But we love you, buddy. Get some rest.
Okay, thank you. And
all right, my man. You have a great night. Get some rest. I'll holler at you in the morning.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye. See you soon.
And there you have it. That is just scratching the surface. And this is actually very important to understand because we really need to learn a lesson here. You're seeing, members of our chat post things. For example, this member of the community is a long-term veteran of Vietnam, but I hope I don't get in trouble, but his job in the military was intelligence. He's told me he's not as dumb as he looks. So, but he was in the intelligence area of the military. Now, this member of the community, right here, Don Gentilini, all of U.S. intelligence heads stated Russia trying to interfere in our 2016 election, Putin strategy. And who is this cat? Well, this cat right here was living and working and ministering as a missionary during the time of the peak of the Cold War in the 80s, living in Eastern Europe. These guys that are in here, and lots of times I put these comments up, they're not random. These guys know what they're talking about. So when we look at Lugansk, we look at Donetsk, we look at the separate activity, we look at decades of work. Let's not be naive. There's a big plan afoot, and there's no conspiracy. I hate conspiracy theories. I only deal in facts. And this is serious, and it's not just serious for Ukraine. Here is Sergei Gadai. I want to finish up the Lugansk and Donetsk area for tonight, and I've got a couple more things that are going to blow you away. Sergei Gadai, and I know it says H, but it's pronounced with a G. Sergei Gadai. Of course, that being the Ukrainian governor of the Lugansk region. Sergei Gadai, he said, after Lugansk, and he was interviewed today on Ukrainian television. I just took a still shot of it. After Lugansk, the Russians are aiming for Donetsk. That's what we've showed you. The regions, not the city. Heavy battles are ongoing near Siversk. Where is that? That's where we just were with Zhenya and the team delivering aid to people and the military just a few days ago. The enemy is using massive resources in building river crossings to transport more equipment over the Siversky Donetsk River. They are also suffering heavy losses. The equipment they use now is old, but the last phrase, its quantities are still overwhelming. It is nonstop, even to the level that tonight on his evening presidential address to the nation, you've seen it. I've shown you many of them translated, where President Zelensky's looking down into his iPad or looking into his iPhone, and he speaks to the Ukrainian people for 5 or 6 minutes, gives them an update, what they did, what he did, what's going to happen tomorrow. He's being a great leader, trying to bring that, not just compassion, but care, stability. That's the word I'm looking for. Stability to his nation each evening. He even said tonight, they just will not stop shooting at us. What have we been saying for 132 days? Let's keep getting the weapons there. So that's Sergei Gadai. Now, third thing I want to talk with you about, and I'll show you a little video clip here in a second, but Finland, a couple of things happened. Finland and Sweden's foreign ministers today signed the accession protocol, which is the official steps. They did it in front of all 30 members of NATO. And after that, Finland made it very clear that they will immediately approve a NATO base on their border. Wonder how Mr. Putin's feeling tonight hearing that. Now, quick clip here from NATO and what happened today.
Today was a really big day here at NATO headquarters. All 30 permanent representatives gathered around the table with the foreign ministers from Sweden and Finland to finally sign the accession protocol. What this means is that Sweden and Finland are now officially invitees, and they can join all NATO meetings as such. In the coming weeks, all 30 allies will now ratify the agreement in their parliament, or in our case, in Congress, and soon the two countries will become full-fledged members of the alliance. Stay tuned and we'll keep you updated as Sweden and Finland move towards full membership.
And there you have it. That's the United States ambassador to NATO, giving the update on that today. A couple of things here, really good comments in the chat. First of all, Gears of War, I think I figured that out. Gears of War, finally got to catch one of your videos live. Keep up the good work. Absolutely will, and welcome to the broadcast. Medic Trevor, I think you are spot on. Let's see here. A couple of comments here. Medic Trevor saying they being Russia, have momentum. He's not letting that go until they run out of fuel and food again. I think that is spot on. JDO, USSR is what Putin grew up in, then educated in, then training in, and was successful in. Why would Putin not want to live in the days of the past by recreating a new USSR? That is spot on. And Rick Berry, true. Understand the fall of the USSR does not mean that the old line communists all disappeared. You know, one of the interesting things about Vladimir Putin is, you guys may or may not know this, but he speaks perfect German, of course, because he was stationed in East Germany during the early days there in his career. And then he was back in Moscow. I'm actually working on a piece about his history. Very, very interesting. But in addition to that, he speaks really good English too. And something that's very funny to watch, you can YouTube it later or Google it. It was an interview done a long time ago, and I think it was by CNN or some other American news agency. They're talking and they're walking in some garden, and I remember it. I just don't remember which agency. And they're talking to Vladimir Putin, and there's an interpreter going on, and then all of a sudden, Putin just turns to that reporter and starts speaking beautiful English. And the reporter goes, "Wow, you really know English." And he just cracked a little smile. This has been in the works a long time, and we are seeing that unfold right in front of us. So, Finland, big time, big time. Not only that, the Finns, you do not want to mess with the Finns. So great addition here to NATO. It's not completely finished yet. There still has to be a ratification by each nation, each of the 30 nations in their own country, but we have made quick progress. And the big deal is here, because they have signed the accession protocol, they are now allowed a seat at the table. They will hear the conversations. I do not know if they have voice, but I know they have a seat. So it's very, very good. Finally, unfortunately today, our home base region was hit. Khmelnytsky, they're highlighted in the red for you. 4 cruise missiles came at Khmelnytsky today. 1 was taken out. 3 struck the target. And drum roll, please. What was the target in Khmelnytsky? No, it was not the nuclear power plant. Praise God. It was the water plants. All of their water infrastructure, their water processing plants. That is what was struck this evening in Khmelnytsky. What on earth are you striking a water plant for? Because that is their modus operandi. Terror and just to destroy people. Finland, back to them. Finland is going to be a great ally. They already are. In fact, I'm looking forward to being in Helsinki next month and streaming from Helsinki. It's going to be crazy being able to do the stream from Finland, and then from Poland, and then from, hopefully, Ukraine. That's the plan. But Finland joining Lithuania in blocking passage today. 865 train wagons of sanctioned goods on its way to St. Petersburg, on its way to Russia through Finland. Finland blocked it. Those train cars are sitting in Finland. You know, the Finns, the Estonians, the Latvians, and the Lithuanians know the evil of what can come out of a Soviet Union. They're doing everything they can to stop it. Finally, jihad. What? I thought this was talking about Ukraine and Russia. Right. Jihad. Oh, hold on. Isn't that like Iraq and Iran and Israel and Saudi Arabia? And yeah. What is jihad? Jihad is a struggle or fight against the enemies of Islam. Okay, PG, you jumped over to like another war. No, I did not. Jihad. Who? Russian military. How? Chechnya. Remember Kadyrov? And all the stuff I keep showing you about Chechnya, folks, they're Muslim. And they are performing jihad under the blessing of Putin, who hates Islam. Just, you can see the madness of what we're seeing here. Folks, I've been saying this from day one, and I'm going to stand by it. This is a holy war, an unholy war. This is a biblical war, and every day we see more and more to point to that. So you're going, okay, what are you talking about? Well, the first thing I'm going to show you tonight is, let's see, which one do I got first? 43. I think this is the Chechen guy talking to the nut jobs in Moscow. Just listen. It's translated. He's speaking perfect Russian, of course, but jihad. Here you go.
Россия живет своей мирной жизнью, все спокойно. И даже в этом случае мы вот прям таким мизерным количеством наших сил и средств уже поставили на лопатки, положили на лопатки весь этот блок НАТО, Америку и Киев, который как шавка бегает впереди и лает.
Аптярович, дальше куда?
Донецкую республику это освободим в ближайшее время. Это тоже вопрос времени. Не надо даже об этом думать. Дальше надо говорить. Следующая точка, где мы остановимся, это Киев. Вторая точка, это Варшава. И если Владимир Владимирович Путин не даст отмашку, чтобы мы остановились, даже вот этим мизерным количеством войск, мы можем спокойно эту всю Европу поставить на колени. Это не составляет для нас абсолютно никакого, как говорится, усилия даже. Вот там Латвия где-то пытается там выпендриваться. Ну, отправим мы туда просто один взвод спецназа Ахмат. Больше туда и не надо. Что там у них есть? 2 резиновые лодки и 3 Д'Артаньяна на этих лошадях. Что они, собираются против нас воевать, что ли? Точно такая же картина у них во всех этих европейских государствах. Что они, ЛГБТшники, могут противостоять нормальным мужчинам, что ли? Которые защищают ценности, неспосланные Богом. Нет. Так что это вопросы такие. Пойдем дальше ровно до тех пор, пока нам не поступит команда остановиться. Вот и все.
Спасибо вам огромное. Спасибо большое. Слава Богу, что в нашей стране такая армия, такие мужчины. Сил вам, успехов, низкий поклон. Апти Алаудинов, советник
Ахмад,
Рамзана.
сила, Аллаху Акбар, Россия мощь.
And that is broadcast into every home, not only in Russia, Europe. Really? America's on its knees. Kyiv, a barking dog. Donetsk will liberate quickly and easily. How about this? Yeah, you know, you guys are making great points there, and everybody's seeing the chat. This is evil. This is not, you know, just military strategy. There's so much at play here that we have to remember that in the big scheme of things, we're talking light and darkness and good and evil. This is ugly. In fact, let me play a clip now. And this is from none other than the parliament speaker of Chechnya on the ground in Ukraine. And very clear, this guy, here you go.
Иншаллах, дальше вообще сомнений не должно быть. И Донецкая Народная Республика, и Николаевск, и Херсон, и Одесса. Пока Владимир Владимирович Путин не остановит нас, мы, иншаллах, дойдем до Берлина, мы победим. В этом нет сомнений. Ахмад! Аллаху Акбар! Президент Владимир Владимирович Путин. Сегодня Рамзан Ахматович Кадыров. Вот эти наши братья, они прежде всего защищают ислам. Они защищают ценности. Они защищают величие Всевышнего. Большое участие в этом джихаде именно и Рамзан Ахматович, глава Чеченской Республики, и под его подчинением и наши все командиры выполняют. Прежде всего, это вера Всевышнего. Это наши духовные ценности, наш язык.
You're right on that, Medic Trevor. They're not fighting. They're just there talking. Fighters behind them. That guy's the parliament speaker. And I'm telling you guys, you're not going to see this on your CBS morning news report. It's bonkers what is actually happening here with these Chechens. And they are, no, there's no plate in that. I'm telling you, this is all propaganda. But something that I taught you guys probably 2 months ago. Who did they say could stop them? They didn't just say Putin. They didn't just say Vladimir Putin. What did they say? Remember, I taught you the culture. They said Vladimirovich Putin. That honorable middle name. It's serious. They really are at his beck and call. It's just madness what we're witnessing. But this was Chechens today talking. Last thing I want to give you tonight is right here. This is a picture today out of Kherson, occupied by Russia. Head and shoulders in a market. Economic collapse. Let me show you something, right? It's probably hard for you to see, but the price tag is 607 hryvnia, Ukrainian currency, and 1,214 rubles, Russian currency. So, you're asking tonight, well, how much in American dollars is that bottle of shampoo? Well, if you pay with Ukrainian currency, it's $21 for that bottle. If you pay with Russian rubles, it's $16. You see what's happening? You can pay with your hryvnia, but you're going to pay a tax. You're going to pay a higher price. Regardless, with rubles, it's $16 for a bottle of shampoo and $21 if you pay with hryvnia. So there you have it. This is what we're seeing. Economic war, jihad, holy war, unholy war, terrorism, and all of that happening while Ukraine is being erased. And that is why we're here each night telling the truth. Folks, we're going to be working on the real detailed view of Lugansk People's Republic and Donetsk People's Republic. And I'm telling you, it'll be eye-opening for you. And that is where we're at tonight. I'll do one last quick check here. Next 7 to 10 days, Erdogan plans to talk to Putin and then Zelensky to talk about Ukrainian grain. Next 7 to 10 days. And air raid signals still going off over the whole country. And you're up to date. 9:46 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4:46 a.m. in Ukraine, 6:46 p.m. out west, and wherever you're at, look at your watch. That's your time. May the Lord bless you guys. Peace upon you. Peace upon Ukraine. Thank you for being active in the chat tonight. Thank you for doing everything that you do to make this so special. Thank you for giving. Thank you for working. And as well, and most importantly, thank you for continuing to pray for Ukraine and keep them in your heart and your focus. You guys are a blessing. Peace to you, and we'll see you in 23 hours. Good night.